Solar Green Greg here, and today we're going to talk about solar energy and efficiency under Donald Trump 2025. What do you need to know? And we'll also talk about Elon Musk. As you know, Elon Musk has been a strong advocate of Trump and has been on the campaign trail. So what gives? Why does Elon support Donald Trump? Let's talk about it. I should mention, by the way, I'm not trying to get too much into politics and the politics discussion, but I'm purely going to talk in this video about energy and climate change policy. So just about policy. Let's get to it. So Donald Trump 2025, solar energy and efficiency. So he says climate change is a hoax. He wants to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act and claw back any unused money that has not been spent so far. And we'll talk a little bit more about what's contained in the Inflation Reduction Act here in just a minute. Drill, baby, drill. More oil and gas. And tariffs on solar panels and other items from China. So just to review real quickly, tariffs are paid by the importer. So whatever company or organization imports goods, they would pay a tax or tariff. And so that, of course, would raise the cost of whoever is importing those goods. And if those imported goods are incorporated into other products, such as, for instance, solar panels, they contain many different materials and components. And even if you buy American-made solar panels, for instance, the silicon, the aluminum frames, the glass, the solar cells, some of those items may come from China. So if there's a tariff or effectively an import tax, then those manufacturers would face increased cost and they would have to pass that cost on over to the homeowner or end user. And that's not just for solar panels. He talked about doing it for other goods imported from China as well. So again, this is going to raise costs on solar panels and other items. And so let's talk a little bit about Project 2025 and how those policies relate to Donald Trump. Now, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, Solareef. How much money are you losing with dirty solar panels? Dirty solar panels severely reduce energy production. Contrary to popular belief, rain alone isn't enough to keep solar panels clean. Dirt, pollen, salt, and bird poop can build up quickly. Introducing Solareef. Solareef is a DIY solar panel cleaning system. Solareef uses 200 powerful water jets, ultra-soft bristles, and solar water capsules to remove stubborn dirt, grime, pollen, and bird poop, leaving your solar panels clean and sparkling. Ultra-soft bristles ensure your panels remain scratch-free. A 12-foot pole is included for easy reach. An optional 20-foot pole is available. Clean solar panels means more energy and more savings. Solareef, the DIY solar cleaning system. Order now with promo code GreenGreg for an extra 10% off. See the pinned comments. Solareef. And by the way, Project 2025 is 993 pages, so it talks about a lot of things about government agencies and so on. But I'm just going to go over a few of the major things regarding energy and climate change. So it mentions repealing the Inflation Reduction Act. And again, I'm going to go over some more details here in a minute. Eliminate or defund the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy. This agency is Department of Energy Division, and they do a lot of research and government grants for research on renewable energies, including solar and wind and energy efficiency. So these studies are very critical to helping us form the proper government policy and incentives. More dependence on oil and gas. and eliminate funding for climate change. So even though, by the way, Donald Trump says he's not aware of Project 2025, you'll notice here that a lot of these things are pretty consistent with what Donald Trump talked about on the campaign trail. So you may be wondering exactly, what is in the Inflation Reduction Act? Well, it's quite a lot of things, but I'm going to just do a quick gloss over. As far as energy and climate, it includes clean manufacturing tax credits. So tax credits and loans for manufacturers of, for instance, solar panels or windmills to actually manufacture in the United States and create jobs here in America. Clean electricity tax credits, conservation, individual clean energy incentives, including home solar PV and battery and solar hot water, for instance, and also energy efficiency items such as heat pumps. We'll go over that more details in a bit. So those are just a few of the things. Healthcare insurance subsidies, healthcare savings on drugs, including drug price inflation caps and a negotiation on certain drug prices, and then some revenue to help pay for these programs, including a 15% corporate minimum tax and so on. So this bill, the programs themselves and the tax breaks, cost $490 billion, and the revenue generation and savings is $790 billion. So actually, these programs, they're paid for with the savings and the extra revenue. So this is actually a very good bill. I mean, it's got a $300 billion surplus. And I'll be quite frank with you. Unfortunately, not a single congressman that was Republican voted for this bill. They should have. However, they sure did celebrate it a lot when these incentives came out and the money was spent in their districts or manufacturing plants were opened up in their districts. So unfortunately, it just seems like politics has become a game rather than what's best for America and best for its citizens. So unfortunately, that's the way it is. But this is what's in the Inflation Reduction Act. And I do have a separate video that goes in even more detail. So let's talk a little bit about solar and energy efficiency in the Inflation Reduction Act. So it includes home solar PV and battery. It's a 30% tax credit. Solar hot water, and again, 30% tax credit. Heat pump laundry dryers. Induction stoves. Heat pumps for the home. Home batteries. EVs. And heat pump water heaters. This is just a few of the examples, by the way. There's more. But these are some of the major items. And, all these items help the homeowner lower their utility bills and help save them money. But, of course, it costs money to implement these new appliances or solar. And so we do need these incentives to help homeowners make that conversion and make it more affordable. And then that also helps drive down the cost of solar or heat pump water heaters, because obviously the more quantity that's made, the manufacturers benefit from larger quantity and they learn how to manufacture the goods at a lower cost. So we do need these programs to help encourage homeowners and businesses, by the way, to do these home energy and business energy savings programs. And so, by the way, if you want more specifics on the energy rebates and tax credits that are available, I did a whole separate video on this, and I'll put a link to this at the end. The Inflation Reduction Act also included solar manufacturing loan guarantees, such as this one was for Q-Cells for $1.45 billion. And this facility recently opened up. They're in Cartersville, Georgia. And this facility manufactures solar panels, mainly used in home, but it could be used for commercial use as well. But it's creating jobs. And this, by the way, is in a Republican district. And a lot of the new manufacturing facilities, by the way, not just for solar, but for wind or other renewable energy and energy saving projects, a lot of them are actually in Republican districts. So, we kind of hope that this will help provide some support for the Inflation Reduction Act. But again, Trump has a lot of influence, and right now the Republicans dominate both the House of Representatives and the Senate, at least for the next 2 years. Maybe in the midterms, the Democrats can gain some seats, but right now the Republicans are calling the shots. And so you may wonder, well, how Project 2025 could it economically affect your state? Well, I found this website called Energy Innovation, and on this website, you can click your state and see how Project 2025 would affect your state. I'll leave a link to this website. Also, it's a great website to help give you some information. And I just pulled up a few states here. But for instance, in Pennsylvania, Project 2025 would cost 37,700 jobs and 7.57 billion, with a B, billion, in state GDP through 2030. And by the way, GDP stands for gross domestic product. This is the value of all goods and services that are produced and sold in the state. So, that's huge. And then you look at Texas, 124,000 jobs, $27 billion in state GDP through 2030. Wow, that's huge. And California, 110,300 jobs, 34.5 billion in state GDP. In Florida, 48,700 jobs, 7.99 billion in GDP through 2030. That's huge. Every state is affected by Project 2025. So I'll leave a link to this website in the description and pinned comments, and you can click on your state and see how Project 2025 economically affects your state. Very interesting. As far as Trump's energy secretary, Trump has selected Chris Wright, and he is the CEO of Liberty Oilfield Services. This company does shale fracking. So you may have heard of oil shale fracking on the campaign trail. Well, this gentleman is a CEO of a company in that business. He's going to be running the Department of Energy and overseeing all aspects, including solar, renewable energy, and other forms of energy. So if you have a guy that's in the shale oil business, what do you think he's going to favor when he's doing government policy? He's going to favor the oil business. And by the way, Liberty has done a book called Bettering Human Lives. And a few of the takeaways is it's vitally important to produce more oil and gas. Of course, this coming from an oil company. Climate change is a global challenge, but is far from the world's greatest threat. That's a direct quote from the book. And again, this is a bias from a company that's in the oil shale business. And so I was wondering, well, what is United States oil production? And here you'll see off the left in 2013, we got Russia. They're in the light brown. And the dark brown is Saudi Arabia. And then the blue bars are America. And as you'll see here, in 2013, Russia was producing more oil than USA or Saudi Arabia. As we go along, you'll see, though, that the United States mostly has been going up. There's been a couple dips in production, but oil production in America has been steadily increasing over the long term. And you'll fast forward here to the past few years, under the Biden administration, oil production has actually been increasing. A little bit of dip in 2020 and 2021. That might be because of COVID, and they had some surplus of oil on the market. Oil prices were dipping. But overall, oil production in America has been increasing, and America has been producing more oil than Saudi Arabia and Russia. And I've also found this pie chart of global crude oil production and condensate in 2023 by country. And you'll see here, America has been producing 12.9% of the global crude oil and condensate. Russia, 10.1%. Saudi Arabia, 9.7%. Canada, 4.6%, and so on. And this is really actually amazing to me. I didn't realize the United States was actually producing more oil than Russia or Saudi Arabia. I mean, that's pretty incredible because I believe that those other countries have more reserves than America, but we're producing more. So it's not that we're not producing enough oil. We're producing plenty of oil. There's not a shortage of oil and gas at the pump or at your home. So I don't know why Liberty Energy thinks we need to somehow produce more oil and gas when we're already producing more than anybody else in the world. So let's talk about Elon. Hey, Elon, why are you dancing with Trump, man? What are you doing over there, brother? Why are you dancing with Trump?
American astronauts.
So you may be wondering, why is Elon supporting Trump on the campaign trail? Why is he a strong advocate of Trump if Trump is talking about eliminating EV tax credits? And he is facing more than 20 federal probes. But of course, I'm sure he would like to be free of these federal probes and have less government regulation affecting his business. And so let's talk about Elon Musk business interests. Of course, when people think about Elon Musk, they immediately think about Tesla more than likely. And so you may wonder, again, why would Elon support Trump if Trump is talking about eliminating EV tax credits? Well, Tesla vehicles, most of them are too high priced to qualify for the EV tax credits. And so I believe that Elon Musk thinks that, the tax credits help his competitors more than it helps Tesla. That's my opinion. Of course, he owns Twitter X, and you'd like to see, less government oversight on X. And also, of course, he's involved in Tesla Solar, which includes the Tesla Powerwall. There are, again, tax credits for solar and home batteries in the Inflation Reduction Act, kind of hoping that he would support the IRA and those incentives, but we don't know. And then he also has StarLink. StarLink, by the way, provides remote communications. For instance, it's being used in Ukraine, and it's used in remote areas. And of course, SpaceX. Both StarLink and SpaceX, get a lot of government contracts from the military, from NASA, and so on. So, of course, he wants to curry favor with the president, who has a lot of influence, to get those government contracts. Without government contracts, SpaceX could not exist. And StarLink, of course, also gets a lot of government contracts. Elon Musk's companies have gotten $16 billion or more in government contracts so far. So, of course, he wants to keep that going and less government oversight. And then I found this article on Latitude Media. I'll leave a link to this in the description. The political risk with Republicans based on public statements and legislative efforts. Having both the presidency, the Senate, and House of Representatives under Republican control is very powerful. And there's no backstop with Democrats, at least for the next 2 years. Maybe you'll see here on the top right, this is the highest risk, is the EV tax credits. Also high in the top left here is energy efficiency, again, for those appliances like heat pumps and so on. And so you'll notice in the lower green quadrant, we have the investment tax credit. This is the tax credit for all renewable energy, including the solar panel tax credit. And as you can see here, it is in the lower risk category. Let's cross our fingers and hope it's not tampered with. Is things like alternative fuels, carbon capture, other things. And then, manufacturing credits. Again, opening of things like, solar manufacturing plants. A lot of those plants are in Republican districts. And so the hope is that maybe will be kept in place, but we'll just have to see. But this is a nice overview of what may happen. And by the way, some of these programs may be cut back because some of the tax credits that Trump put in place during his first term, he wants to find savings to extend those tax credits. And unfortunately, most of those tax credits went to the billionaires, the lion's share of them. So he wants to find a way to pay for them by cutting back on some of these other programs. And so, by the way, I don't just want to sound like, hey, I'm just against Republicans. I'm just talking about public policy here as far as solar and energy efficiency. And when Republicans do the right thing, I'm happy to do a video about them as well. And so here's an example. Back in 2022, the Florida utilities and the Republican Florida legislature tried to pass a bill that would have crushed solar in Florida. And luckily, Ron Desantis stood up and vetoed this legislation. Because, hey, energy efficiency and having, renewables like solar and wind, it's in the interest of the country, no matter if you're Republican or Democrat, I would think, anyways. So when a Republican does the right thing, I'm happy to do a video about them too. So in conclusion, Trump 2025, I'm seeing, again, less government support for solar, renewables, and energy efficiency, gutting of green and environmental programs, including gutting the EPA or possibly trying to close the agency. The Inflation Reduction Act, modification or repeal. My opinion is it's more likely going to be a modification and maybe a downsizing of the programs or removing some of the funds from the Inflation Reduction Act. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to affect solar and energy efficiency yet. We'll have to stand by and wait and see. But I think solar panels and wind might be a little bit more safe. Energy efficiency, I think, might be a bigger target. Higher prices due to tariffs and inflation. And that's not just for solar and renewables, but for all products. If we're going to be paying tariffs from goods from China, and we don't have alternative lower cost sources, those prices, those taxes in the form of tariffs are going to be passed on to homeowners and American citizens. So with this, I would say, not to be too salesy, but the best time to buy solar and energy efficiency is now. I'm not saying you got to buy tomorrow, but you may want to buy it soon before some of these changes are made to the Inflation Reduction Act and before some tariffs are implemented. So, take your time to shop around, but sooner is better than later. This is just my opinion. I mean, the writing's on the wall. We've seen this before. When there is an update, I will do another video. But for right now, this is what I see. About our sponsor, Solareef. Check it out. I'll leave a link in the pinned comments. And use the promo code GreenGreg for an extra 10% off. Thank you. Celebrate Green Greg here. Hey, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. Also, hey, hit that subscribe button so I can bring you more videos like this one. And when you hit that subscribe button, this lets YouTube know that my videos are valuable and it helps show them to more homeowners just like you. Thank you again. So on this channel, we cover home solar PV and battery, solar pool heating, and energy efficiency. Hey, listen, I've been in the solar industry now for 17 years. So I know the tips and the tricks and the secrets, but I'm also a homeowner just like you. And I know how it is. Sometimes you're just trying to get information, not sales talk, right? Well, on this channel, that's what I do. I give homeowners information. If that's what you're looking for, you're in the right spot. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. See you next video. Bye-bye for now. And here's the next video.